I have to tell you guys, we are probably in an amazing time to be a creative and being a filmmaker. We've got so many now options that, of terms of lenses and cameras, that few years ago would have been like, for most people, seem out of reach. And now we're starting to see them come into where they are now being at the very least accessible to people who are enthusiasts that want to make that next step into their filmmaking career. And this is probably the next thing that I would say is one of the best things that really emphasizes that next step of terms of affordability and great image quality and just great quality, especially as something that's important as lenses. So today I am going to be talking about these Laowa lenses that I have been given to take a look at. I'm going to give my thoughts on them. I'm going to give my thoughts on who's this for and all that and more. So tune in. This is going to be a great one. What's going on, everybody? My name is James Jackson. If you're new here, I do tips, tricks, news, and reviews for the film and video making industry. So if this is content that you like, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can stay up to date on all the content going forth. So today we have a really great joy, not great joy, but a joy to behold. I have been given the honor to test out these guys. These, for most of you guys that probably have been observing the YouTube community that's got early access on these are the Laowa Rangers. This is Laowa's, some of their more prosumer, top of the line cine zoom lenses. They are full frame coverage and probably one of the ones that everybody sort of tends to look at when you're looking at cine zooms, particularly Parfocal Cine zooms at affordable rates. And most people probably talk about these against the Katas. Unfortunately, I haven't used the Kata, so I can't really talk about them in terms of that. I'm gonna just talk about my experience with them in this video. And then in another video, I am going to compare them against a set of cine primes that you've all seen me use and talk about, but that's not what this video is for. I have to first give full disclosure that Laowa did send me these lenses to review and to check them out and try them out. I don't get to keep these lenses. I have to get ready to send them back and ship them out. But I've only been giving them basically 2 weeks to just sort of test them out. If you are interested in purchasing these lenses, I do have a B&H affiliate link in the description below. If you use them, it will have a little commission come my way at no additional cost for you, and it helps support the channel. I did use them on a podcast. I've used them a few times on a podcast that I have been on production for. And then I've also have used them in my personal business, just trying them out, testing them out. All right, let's start off with just the sort of design. Right now, if you get the set, which by the way is about $6,000, it's probably just under $6,000. You get both of these sets, and you get these, which is the first one, which is the 28 to 75, and then you get the next one, which is the 78 to 180. They come in a set. They come both with PL and EF attached in the case as well, which is really, really awesome. So, and you can also take them out yourself. You can do the mount change yourself. You don't need to take it in. But I think one of the probably cool things about the design and one of the key things that separate it from something like the Katas is the fact that there's actually a back focus adjustment that you can do on your own. So it saves so much time compared to shimming. So you can make those tweaks and make those judgments of your affinity and do those tests on your own. The other thing that I absolutely like about these is, especially someone who is coming from a set of prime lenses like the IRIX lenses, is the focus. It's a really, really smooth. It is 180 degrees about. Actually, just a little bit more, probably about 270. But more importantly, it is super smooth, super buttery. It's easily to make adjustments. You don't have to worry about putting a lot of torque in a lot of these lenses. So they'll work with it, whether if you got wireless follow focus or a regular manual focus. They work really great. You got your zoom range, and then of course you got your iris ranges. Now, in terms of the iris ranges, I know some people will probably feel 2.9 is probably a little bit not slow for them, which if you're working with primes, totally get it. But honestly, for a lot of the production that I do, I typically stay at it like T4, T5.6, like 95% of the time. And a few times that I do go to like 2.8 or even at most an f2, those times is where I'm going for a very specific look for my shots. So, but your mileage may vary, so it really is up to you. But I think the range on those is good. And even comparing these to the Katas, which these have a bit better focal range for the two set that you have here, with 28 to 75 and 75 to 80. So you got a wider focal range as well as a longer telephoto range for both of these. Very solid built. These are not weather sealed, unfortunately. So you do want to still be cautious when you take these out in the rain and just try to get them covered. So that is something that you should be consider. These are not weather sealed. Also, these are fully manual. There's no electronics in them. So if you are doing something where you have to work with visual effects, where you need to send metadata, this may not be the option for you as well. But for everybody else, design, very good. The other big thing, these are incredibly lightweight. They're not like super light like some of the photo lenses. They got enough half, but compared to like more heavy, like more costing lenses, cine zoom lenses, even some that are in their price range, these things are actually pretty lightweight. Let's dive into the image quality and sort of the things that I have noticed. So as I mentioned before, I've been using these guys in terms of paid gigs. I've been using these on a podcast series that I have been the DP on, and I've used these on 2 episodes for that we got a chance to choose. One of the things that especially on something like the Blackmagic full frame camera, they provide such a great option where if you need something wide. We mainly use the 28 to 75 one, and that's been used as our wide 2-shot lens. I've used the 75 to 180 to get some more B-roll options for that for the podcast. But what I will say is they're also, because I had them set up in the PL version, it was very easy to set them out. You got a 77 millimeter filter thread, so I just threw on a step-up ring that goes with the Tilta Mirage, which is the matte box that I've been using with the variable ND filter. They work like a charm, no issues, no hassles. The one thing I will say in terms of kind of a negative, but not maybe necessarily a negative, but it is something you should be aware of. About halfway through the focal range of, and this is consistent on both lenses, about halfway through the focal lenses, if your focus breathing is very apparent. So on the 28 to 75, I would say up to about 40, before you get to 45 millimeters, the breathing is extremely noticeable. But once you get to 45, and definitely once you get to 50, the breathing is pretty much gone. So from 50 to 75, there's almost essentially no breathing. And it's sort of the same way with the 75 to 180. The breathing is very noticeable on the wider focal lengths of each lenses. But if you want no breathing whatsoever, you kind of want to shoot yourself. So that makes it very interesting, especially if you're talking about the 75 to 180. If you are trying to get sort of more of that telephoto things, which I think it's definitely more apparent, I would say use the 28 to 75. That way you'll have almost no breathing whatsoever. So definitely, I would say that's definitely the range to go. The one thing I will say is, both through my time with these, and the thing I absolutely love about these most is when you're down to T29, there's definitely some softness, but there's still definitely sharpness to them. It has sort of this more organic, this non-like oversaturated saturated look of sharpness, where some lenses, like the Sigmas, depending on the camera that you use with the resolution, they can come off like kind of unnaturally sharp. These don't have these problems. So these are great with high resolution cameras. If you're shooting with a high resolution cameras, these are great. So something like maybe the GFX 100, the Blackmagic Cinema camera full frame, say the A9 with its 8K, the R5, the R5C with those 8K cameras, the Ursa 12K. These are great because they'll soften up when they're fully wide exposed. But once you get down to, I'll say, a T5.6, they're very clinical, but they still have this really nice, creamy, out of focus look to them. And that's the thing to me, for me personally, what I love the most about these lenses is the fallout. It reminds me a lot of what I loved about, say, the 28-70, the Canon Kowas, that has that, the Sumerays, or even the Sumerays from Canon. They have these just like really creamy out of focus, but it just has this natural fall off and this natural bloom. And that is, to me, the thing that I love. I love the look of these lenses. If you have a lot of color in your scenes, they'll definitely pull those out, but still keeping that natural tone to them. So the only other things I will say is there is definitely some chromatic aberrations with these, but honestly, it's not. I never found it so distracting. The bokeh balls have some cat eyes in the corners in them, but again, I personally love the look of them. The bokeh balls are not perfect. Overall, I gotta say, I wanna just again thank Laowa for allowing me to use these lenses. I've had a blast using this. I wish I could keep them longer, but unfortunately I can't. I gotta return them. But this is it for me, guys. I absolutely love all the support that you guys have given me. But let me know what you guys think about the Laowa ranges. Let me know, leave your comments down below. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care, everyone.